With Easter just around the corner, I wanted to spend a little time today with Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. I think it would be a great way to put ourselves in the proper perspective for this coming weekend. And I'm going to begin by reading an account from the book of Mark in chapter 14, verse 33. And it says this: "He took Peter, James, and John with him, and he became deeply troubled and distressed." And that's something we normally don't associate with Jesus, is distress and trouble, right? He's the solution guy. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. I'm going to continue here with reading. "He told them, 'My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me.' He went on a little further and fell on the ground. He prayed that if it were possible, the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. 'Abba, Father,' he cried out, 'everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine.'" Now, in the past, when I've read this account, as a human, I think about the suffering. I think about the pain that Jesus went through on that cross for our sins. But when Jesus was saying all this, how he was deeply troubled and distressed, and how this grief was overtaking him, he wasn't even really thinking about the physical aspect of this. You see, he was thinking about the spiritual aspect. Jesus would have to bear the weight of the sins of the entire world. And as you know, any sin separates us from God. Jesus was dreading the fact that even for a split second of an instant, no matter what that time might be, he would be separated from God as Father in heaven. And that's pretty amazing if you think about that. You think about that physical pain that we all fear, that he went through, how big that was, that the spiritual agony was worse than that, being separated from God. Now here I'm going to say something that might potentially blow your mind, because I know it did when it occurred to me. That's where we live every single day. That anguish that Jesus was dreading is our life here in this broken world. Every single day we deal with that separation from him. And that made me think, man, how awesome is heaven? How awesome is it going to be to live with our Father in heaven for eternity? So I say this to encourage you, no matter what you're going through here on earth, no matter what it is, good or bad, look to that future with God in heaven. It's going to be so awesome that we can't even comprehend it. If we think of Jesus' physical agony, and that the spiritual agony was that much worse, but yet time with God must be so much better, it gives us something to look forward to. And I just want to say that as we go into Easter, let's think about that how much God loved us, that Jesus was willing to spend that split instant of separation from God that he might get the joy beyond the cross. We'll see you next time on Wednesday Wisdom.